Okay, welcome Rabbi Isai to another Chazara Shiur on Sugיא Vav. We've gotten very good feedback from the previous Chazara Shiurim. I'm hearing that it's helping a lot of Talmudim, and hopefully this one will help you as well in preparing the Gemara, learning the Gemara, chazaring the Gemara for the test, and hopefully we get good feedback from this as well, and hopefully this can continue. Let's do a Chazara on the PowerPoint explaining the Gemara, all the steps of the Gemara back and forth, and then we will read it inside with the Rashis. Okay, let's start all the way from the beginning, from the things that we need to know, Yedias Mukdamas, the things that we need to know before going into the Sukkah. There's one Yedias Mukdamas, there's one thing that we need to know before going in, which is something that we learn out of the Pasuk, V'amra ha'isha. Amen, amen. Pasuk says, the woman says, when she's making a shvuah, she says, amen, amen. She says twice, amen. We learn out of this a very special din called Gilgul Shvuah, that we roll over a shvuah. Gilgul Shvuah, in short, is if there's one thing that you need to make a shvuah on, and there's another thing that you don't need to make a shvuah on, Beis Din is able to make you make a shvuah on both. And saying, oh yeah, you're ready, you're holding a Sefer Torah, you're ready making a shvuah, I want to make a shvuah also on the other things also. So rolling over a shvuah onto other things also. Take, for example, if I have a court case with someone, two court cases actually. One, I gave him $100, I lent him $100, and now I need to get it back from him. And number two, I gave him my laptop to use, and now it's broken. The thing is that he admits that the laptop is broken, but regarding the $100, he says he only owes me $50. That's a case of Moed B'Miktas. As we know, that when someone is Moed B'Miktas, he needs to make a shvuah. He needs to swear that he only owes me $50. So now Gilgul Shvuah over here would be that since he's already making a shvuah that he only owes me $50, since he's already making a shvuah because of Moed B'Miktas, we roll over the shvuah, and he should also make a shvuah, he should also make another oath that the object was broken. That's a Gilgul Shvuah, rolling over a shvuah onto other things also. That originally you wouldn't be chayav a shvuah, but once you're making one, already, make two, make three, make four, any other thing also. Now let's move on to our sugya. It's important to remember a din from Rav Huna, because our Gemara is going to be a kasha on Rav Huna. One second, what was Rav Huna's din? Let's just remember that. Rav Huna's din was that if I'm holding on to an item, I'm holding on to an object, for example, if the Malva is holding on to the Pikadei, the Yadus books, he needs to swear that's not in his possession. Why? We're scared, maybe he's going to like it, he's going to keep it, he's going to see, oh wow, it's such a nice book, I want to keep it for myself. So we make the Malva take a shvuah that it's not in his possession. Einei b'rishusay. Now, the Gemara has a kasha on Rav Huna. What's the Gemara's kasha? Says Rav Huna bar Tachlifa in the name of Rava. I think that Reisha the Seifa is going to be a kasha on Rav Huna. Why? Let's learn the Reisha the Seifa. Remember that long Mishnah last Amud with the 4 parts? Says Rav Huna bar Tachlifa in the name of Rava. I think the Reisha the Seifa, the third part, is going to be a kasha on Rav Huna. What's the third part? Sela Yildisani Olav. The loiva says, you lent me 1 sela, and the mashkin was worth 2 sloim. So now you owe, and now that got lost, the mashkin got lost. So now you owe me 100. In the words of the Mishnah, Sela Yildisani Olav. You lent me 1 sela, you gave me 1 sela over it. Shnayim, back on the top, Shnayim, Mayashava was worth 2 sloim, the mashkin was worth 2 sloim. So now you owe me 1 sela. And the other one says, Loiki, not so. Ella, rather, Sela Hildisicha Olav. I lent you 1 sela over it, and Sela Yashava was worth 1 sela. So now I owe you 0. I don't owe you anything. And in the words of the Mishnah, the halva, the loan, was worth 1 sela, and the mashkin was worth 1 sela. Now that the mashkin is lost, we are equal. Because I gave you a sela and I lost a sela. We're equal now. The din is potter, the malva is potter from a shvuah because it's kaifer hakol. He's denying everything. He's saying, I don't know you anything, so he's potter from a shvuah. Now comes the kasha from here on Rav Huna. What is the kasha? Frag the Gemara, v'im isol Rav Huna. If Rav Huna is right, that the malva would have to make a shvuah she'enei b'rishusay, that's not his property. Since the malva swears she'eina b'reshusay, that's not in his possession. Lishta benami, let him also make a shvua, a gilgul shvua, through rolling over a shvua. Kama hayashava, how much it was worth. Let's roll over the shvua, and instead of being potter, he will be chayiv. He'll be chayiv to make a shvua, how much it was worth. And for the Gemara, Rav Ashi said, Amrisa l'shmaitzo. I said this saying, this Mishnah, Kamei Rav Kana, in front of Rav Kana, V'omar li, and he said to me that this case is talking about in a case where the loiva trusts the malva, she'eina b'reshusay. Hey, let it be b'ma'aminoi, that he trusts him. The loiva trusts the malva that's not in his possession. So if he trusts him that he's not in his possession, he doesn't need to make a shvua. And if he does not need to make a shvua that's not in his possession, then he can't roll over and make a shvua how much it's worth. And that's why, since he can't make a shvua how much it's worth, that's why the Mishnah says potter, because he's not making a shvua how much it's worth. So for that, the Gemara, 1 second. If the loiva trusts the malva that's not in his possession, if he's trusting that's not in his possession, then let the loiva trust the malva also. In this, how much it was worth. If he's already trusting the loiva that's not in his possession, let him also trust that's not how much it's worth, because the malva was saying that's worth 1 selah, the loiva was saying it's worth 2 sloim. If the loiva is trusting the malva that's not in his possession, he should also trust him how much it's worth. And for the Gemara, no. He doesn't trust him how much it's worth. You know why? Because the loiva is certain about the price of the item. Why? It's his. He knows. He is not certain about it. The malva is not certain about the price of the item. That's why the loiva does not trust him about the price. So, correct the Gemara, 1 second. If the loiva is certain about the price, the malva, the loiva, let the malva trust to the loiva, the king begave, because he is certain. And for the Gemara, well, no, the malva does not trust the loiva. He doesn't trust him. So 1 second, why not? Why does the loiva trust the malva and the malva not trust the loiva? Correct the Gemara, umayishna. And what's the difference? What's the difference between the loiva and the malva? Let's read it inside. Umayishna loiva. What's the difference in the loiva? The meheman leila malva, that he trusts the malva. Umayishna malva. What's the difference in the malva? The meheman leila loiva, that he does not trust the loiva. And for the Gemara, we learn it out of a pasuk. The pasuk says that the righteousness of good people will make them rich. From Shemayim will make sure that the righteous people are rich. And those who are not righteous won't have money. Now, who has money here? The malva has the money. Right? He's able to even lend out. He has extra money. The loiva, he's a poor person. He needs to borrow money. So now, why does the loiva trust the malva? Let's read it inside. Loiva mekayim be the malva. The loiva fulfills about the malva. He sees it happening. He sees the pasuk happening of Tumas Yesharim Tamchim. The righteousness, the sincerity of straight people will guide them. So he trusts him. He says, he's a righteous person. If he has money, he's probably a righteous person. So that's why the loiva does trust the malva. However, malva mekayim be loiva. The malva fulfills about the loiva וסלף, בוגדים, ישדם, and the trickery of sly people. Yeshiva will rob them, and the loiva looks at the malva and says, "You don't have money. I don't trust you so much." That is the end of the sugya. That was pretty quick, no? Okay, now let's learn it inside. Let's pull up Merkava over here, and we will read it together. And if you're able to read it quarterly together with, that would be amazing. Okay, let's scroll down to the right place. It will be a lot, very, very helpful if you are able to read and type together while we read it in type. Rav Huna bar Tachlifa, if you have your own Gemara, that would be even better. If you don't have a Gemara, you can use the board. Rav Huna bar Tachlifa, Mishmei de Rava Omar. Rav Huna in the name of Rava, Rav Huna bar Tachlifa, in the name of Rava said, Reisha the Seifa, the beginning of the end of the Mishnah, Tiyufta Rav Huna will be a kasha on Rav Huna, meaning the third case will be a kasha on Rav Huna. Sela, he'll be Sani Allah. What is the case? Sela, he'll be Sani Allah. You gave me a Sela over the mashkin. Shtai Mayashav, and it was worth two sloim. V'haloim, and the other one says, Loichi, not so. Ella, rather, Sela, he'll be Sicholav. I gave you one Sela over it. Sela Yashav, it was only worth one Sela. The din is, in the Mishnah, Potter, he is Potter. Now comes the Gemara's kasha. Ve'im isa, and ve'im isa is a keyword. It's a kasha, a challenge. Ve'im isa, and if he's right according to Rav Huna, Migu de bin shtab malva, since the malva is swearing, she'ena b'rishusoi, that's not in his property. Since he's already swearing that's not in his property, he's already making one shvua. Lishtab nami should also make a shvua, a gilgul shvua through rolling over a shvua. Kama hayashava, how much it was worth. And for the Gemara, Omar Ravashi said, Amriso l'shmaito, I said this saying, Kamei de Rav Kano, before Rav Kano, the Omar li, and he said to me, Tehei b'ma'aminoi, let it be, let the Mishnah be talking about a case where the loiva trusts the malva that's not in his property. If the loiva trusts the malva that's not his property, then the malva doesn't need to swear, because he already trusts him. The whole reason why he would swear is if he doesn't trust him, then I swear. But if he trusts him, then you don't need to swear. So if the malva is not swearing, that's not in his possession, he's not taking the oath, then there's nowhere to roll it over from. You can't roll over the shua to also kama yashava. Amazing. Let's do the Rashis. Scroll up to, let's go to Rashi the Brahmaskel, Reisha the Seifa. Reisha the Seifa, describing exactly which part of the Mishnah are we talking about. Reisha the Seifa, the beginning of the end. Beginning, if you divide the Mishnah into two parts, there's the beginning, the first two cases, and the end, the second two cases. So the beginning of the end means the third case. Reisha the Seifa, having Tiyufta Rav Huna will be a kasha on Rav Huna. Reisha, the first two cases of the Mishnah, Tvias Malva, the Malva is demanding. He's saying you still owe me more. Seifa, the end of the Mishnah, Tvias Loiva, the Loiva is demanding, saying my mashkin was worth more, so now you owe me more. Reisha, the Seifa, the beginning of the end, the Katani Potter, where it says Potter, Bitvias Loiva is talking about where the Loiva is demanding. Next Rashi, a Gilgul Shvua. Through a Gilgul Shvua says, how would a Gilgul Shvua apply to this case? Says Rashi, the Taina, because a claim, she'ein ba Shvua, that does not have a Shvua, im Taina, together with a claim, she'yesh ba Shvua, that has a Shvua. If you have two claims, one there is a Shvua, one there isn't a Shvua. Megalgalin all of Shvua, we roll over onto it a Shvua, lishav al shteim, to make a Shvua on both of them, on both of these things. The Gilgul Shvua Dairaisu, and by the way, the din of Gilgul Shvua is from the Torah, as we learned in the beginning, that we learned it out of a pasuk, a clear pasuk. The Kiddushin, as we learned in Maseches Kiddushin. Now, I'm going to give a shout out to Rebbe Responsa, because in 2 minutes I think I'm going to have to pause and send out a daily insight that I post every day, every evening on Rebbe Responsa groups. And if you want, you can message me privately and I'll send you a link to join the group, or you can see it on my private status, but it needs to go out at 7 o'clock. It could be that my phone is going to start ringing instead of taking a video. Let's hope that just like Talmidim stay focused in class, let's see if my phone can stay focused and not start ringing for that alarm, for that reminder. Okay, back to our subject. Tehei b'ma'amino. That was part of the answer of the Gemara. The answer of the Gemara was, let it be talking about a case where the loiva trusts the malva that's not in his possession. Ha de katani potter. This that it says potter in the Mishnah. B'na'amino loiva l'malva. It's when the loiva trusts the malva. She'ena b'rishusay, that's not in his possession. Now let's go back to the rest of the Gemara. The next question of the Gemara. For that, the Gemara, 1 second. If the loiva already trusts the malva that's not in his possession, v'nehem ne loiva l'malva, let the loiva trust the malva, nami also, beha in this, kama ha'yashava, how much it was worth. And for the Gemara, loikim le begavei, he is not certain about it. Meaning, as Rashi will explain, since the malva doesn't own it, it's not his, and he doesn't know the actual price, he didn't pay attention to it. Therefore, the loiva doesn't trust the malva on how much it's worth. He trusts him that it's not his property, but he doesn't trust him how much it's worth because the object doesn't belong to the malva. The malva is not certain about how much it costs. Only the loiva knows it's my item. I know how much it costs. There's no way it costs only 100. For sure, it costs 200. For sure, it costs 2 sela. So I don't trust the malva on how much it's worth. For that, the Gemara back 1 second. Then the malva should trust the loiva, the king because he is certain. If the loiva is certain about it, then the malva should trust the loiva how much it's worth. And for the Gemara, I'm sorry, loiva heiman, he doesn't trust him. The malva does not trust the loiva. For the Gemara, whoa. Umay shnoy, what's the difference between them that one trusts another? Right? Umay shnoy, what's the difference? Loiva, the loiva, the heiman le malva, that he trusts the malva. Umay shno malva, what's the difference between the malva? The loiva heiman le loiva, that he doesn't trust the loiva. And for the Gemara, loiva mekayim be malva, the loiva fulfills by the malva. Tumas yesharim tanchem, the pasuk that the righteousness, the sincerity of straight people will guide them. And he looks at the malva and says, Gemalva, you have money, you have a lot of money. Mistam, it's because you're a righteous person, and you're a trustworthy person, and you're a straight person. That's why I trust you. However, the other way around, malva does not trust the loiva. Why? Malva mekayim be loiva. The malva fulfills by the loiva וסלף בוגדים ישדם. That the trickery, the sly of people who cheat, sly people, Yeshadim will rob them. The reason, the malva thinks to himself, the reason why the loiva doesn't have money is because he's sly, he's deceitful, he's cheating. So I don't trust him. The reason why he doesn't have money is because he's a sly person. Let's learn this in Rashi. Rashi, Dibra Maskel, Loikim le begadei. He's not certain about it. The malva wasn't certain by him about the object. Meimar Omar Loiva. Saying says the loiva. The loiva says, Loikim le malva. The malva doesn't know, is not certain, begadei, by him, the mashkin of the mashkin. He doesn't know exactly the price of the mashkin. Why not? Why doesn't the malva know the price of the mashkin? The loy nosan daitoi, because he didn't put his mind a love on it on the mashkin. Lodas damov, to know its value, to know its money. Lodas damov, to know its money, to know its value. Next Rashi, Maishno. The Gemara's kash. What's the difference between the malva and the loiva? Why does the malva trust the loiva? Why does the loiva trust the malva and the malva not trust the loiva? Maishno. What's the difference? The nokat Tana, that this Tana chapped on Lemilse to his word, Bahachi, in such a case. How could it be that the Tana, why did the Tana chap on such a interesting case that the loiva trusts the malva, the malva doesn't trust the loiva? Why did the Tana think, say a Mishnah in such a strange case? That this one is trustworthy on this one, and this one is not trustworthy on this one. Loiva mekayim b'malva. This is an answer of the Gemara. The loiva carries out, fulfills by the malva mikra zeh, this pasuk of tumas yisharim tanchem, that the sincerity of righteous people, straight people, will guide them. what does he carry out? How does the loiva interpret this pasuk? Im loy she'adam neman. If not for a person being trustworthy, v'yasharhu, and that he is straight, loy hayu ma'ashrin oisai. They wouldn't make him rich. Min hashamayim, from Shemayim. Hashem wouldn't make him rich if he's a sly and evil person. So if he's rich and he has money and he's able to lend out, he's probably a tzaddik, he's probably a good person, he's probably a straight person, and that's why I trust him. Shenemar, like it says in the pasuk, Tumas Yisharim Tanchem, the sincerity of straight people will guide them. Baruch Hashem, we are finishing right now, 6:59. Now go to those WhatsApps, go to those WhatsApp groups, or on social media, follow Rebbe Responsa, give it a like, give it a subscribe to this video too, read the daily insights, be inspired, and take it away. Hatzlacha Rabbah on the testimony.